Good evening.
Mohamed Salah leaves Liverpool after 9 years.
In Ireland, police question journalists to find their sources. In China, the man who built Evergrande gets life in prison.
3 ways power ends. 1 chose to go. 1 is being pressed to give names. 1 will not leave his cell. The question is always the same: what remains after?
For nearly a decade, Mohamed Salah has been the standout African player in English football's top division. That era has now ended. The Egyptian forward has left Liverpool after 9 seasons at the club. His departure raises an obvious question: which African player will now claim the title of the Premier League's biggest star from the continent? Salah's time at Liverpool made him a global name. He became known as the Egyptian King. But that crown is now up for grabs. Several African players compete in the Premier League. One of them will emerge as the continent's leading figure in English football. BBC Sport Africa reported this. Tensions are rising in the Middle East over the conflict in Yemen. Iran's Revolutionary Guards issued a warning on Thursday. They said Saudi Arabia will not be able to contain the Houthi rebels operating in Yemen. The Houthis are backed by Tehran. They've been stepping up attacks on Saudi Arabia in recent weeks. The Revolutionary Guards are an elite branch of Iran's military. Their statement comes as the conflict between the Houthis and Saudi forces continues to escalate across the region. Vanguard reported this. Founder of one of China's biggest property companies has been sentenced to life in prison. Hui Ka-yan led Evergrande, which collapsed and sent shockwaves through the country's property sector. The sentencing marks a key moment in the fallout from that collapse. China's property market has been in crisis, and Evergrande was at the center of it. The company's failure affected investors and homebuyers across the country. Hui's conviction brings a dramatic end to his career at the top of Chinese business. BBC World reported this. An Australian woman murdered 3 of her estranged husband's relatives by poisoning them with mushrooms. She's now in prison. A prosecutor has told an appeals court that she should never be released. The 3 victims were all related to her former husband. The case was heard in an Australian appeals court, where prosecutors argued for her to remain behind bars permanently. Sky News reported this. The United States has imposed sanctions on 2 members of the International Criminal Court. One of them is the court's president. The announcement came from Marco Rubio. He is Donald Trump's Secretary of State. The move puts pressure on the court. That pressure has far-reaching consequences. DW World reported this.
US Secretary of State has sanctioned the president of the International Criminal Court and 1 other member.
Marco Rubio announced the measures against the court that issued an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu last year.
That is the court in The Hague. Now to another question of accountability. New South Wales police have apologised for how they told a family their daughter had died.
The New South Wales Police Commissioner has apologised for miscommunication over the death of a bushwalker. The 18-year-old was named as Lily Hooper. The Greens leader says strong words aren't enough after Israel decided not to pursue a criminal investigation into the killing of aid workers. Larissa Waters says the government should consider sending the Israeli ambassador home. The case involves World Central Kitchen workers, including Australian Zomi Frankham, who were killed by Israeli Defense Forces. Waters says the state of Israel should face sanctions. Guardian Australia reported this. The Penrith Panthers are running riot against the Melbourne Storm tonight. Brian To'o has scored 3 tries in the first half alone as Penrith dominates. The Panthers came into this match desperate for a win. They'd lost their previous 2 games and needed to turn things around. Tonight's match also marks a special milestone for Penrith coach Ivan Cleary. It's his 500th game as a head coach in the competition. The Panthers are showing no signs of their recent struggles. Melbourne is being overwhelmed. ABC Australia just in reported this. FC Barcelona have made a new signing. The club has brought in Rodrigo Hernández. He joins the Spanish side ahead of the new season. Barcelona announced the deal this morning. Hernández becomes their latest addition as they look to strengthen the squad. The midfielder has put penalty to paper on his contract. He'll now link up with his new teammates in the coming days. Barcelona supporters will be hoping the signing helps improve their fortunes. The club has been active in the transfer market. Hernández is now officially a Barcelona player. FC Barcelona reported this. Journalists in Ireland are being routinely questioned by Garda in attempts to identify their confidential sources. That's according to a new study. The research found that police regularly interrogate reporters about where they get their information. The practice raises concerns about press freedom and the protection of whistleblowers who provide information to the media. The Irish Council for Civil Liberties says new legislation should be brought in to protect journalists' rights. They want legal safeguards introduced. The findings highlight tensions between law enforcement investigations and the ability of reporters to maintain the confidentiality of their sources. Without such protection, sources may be reluctant to come forward with information in the public interest. Irish Times reported this. Melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer. An experimental vaccine from Moderna is now showing promise in fighting it. The vaccine uses mRNA technology, the same approach that proved successful during the pandemic. Dr. Celine Gounder is a medical correspondent who has had melanoma herself. She calls the trial results a big win for mRNA vaccines against cancer. The treatment represents a new frontier in cancer care. Scientists are adapting the technology that helped end lockdowns to target tumors instead of viruses. For patients diagnosed with melanoma, this could mean a powerful new weapon in their fight. CBS US reported this.